क्षमूलं गुरोः कृपा। ॐ कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। कृष्ण भगवान की जय, सद्गुरु भगवान की जय, सच्चिदानंद भगवान की जय, गीता माता की जय। हम जहाँ कल छोड़े थे, संजय the minister is giving all the visible, all the sceneries and all the dialogues, whatever is audible to him in such a far distance, everything is being reported to the blind king Dhritarashtra. And now, having heard some words negative attitude of the great warrior Arjuna, Lord Krishna was not wonderstruck. He knows what happens to a person in such a situation, who is sincere to both to the duty and as well as the law and order of the society, and as a king he has to think from all round vision. So it is but natural. So Lord Krishna he is trying to explain the situation and the mental condition of Arjuna. He could understand very well, and he is explaining how Arjuna was contradictory to himself. He himself was telling something and meaning something else. He himself was telling Bhishma and Drona, they are worshipful, they should be respected, and they have been gathered here to do their duties, to fight out the battle for a right cause. And Arjuna is telling, no, if we fight out the battle, we will be the cause for the disharmony in the society. So he himself is contradicting his own views. That means Drona and Bhishma, they are not doing the right thing. They are worshipful, they are height of knowledge, and yet they are doing something wrong. They are unable to see the right thing. So this is how Lord Krishna just catches the nerve. And he is telling, Lord Krishna is telling, Natvevaham jatu nasam na tvam neme janadhipaha na chaiva na bhavishyamah sarve vayam atah param. O Arjuna, you are not able to see the reality the self is immortal. And the bodies, of course, that bodies have to appear and disappear, and how the nature plays its role, birth and death, and all these go on according to the force of the nature. But here you are nothing. You are not at all responsible, or you are not cause for anything. It is done by nature itself. Bodies will appear, they will take birth, they will grow, they will undergo 6 types of uh, changes in the life, and in the end they have to die. But the soul never dies, and you don't see the reality. You see the death and appearance and disappearance of the bodies, and sometimes you are talking so high, sometimes you are talking just opposite of it. What is this? Huh? Talk sensibly. He says, nor at any time indeed was I not, nor thou, nor these rulers of men, nor verily shall we ever see to be hereafter. O Arjuna, you are eternal being. I too am the eternal being. We have no birth, no death. So also is the case of all these who are standing before you. It is a drama going on. Try to understand. It is the play of the nature, supreme power, and soul is never subject to birth and death. In the past, before this time, we were not absent any time. We were there. And now also we are here. We will not cease to exist in the future also. Neither you nor I, nor all these persons. Everything is existing all the time in 3 periods of time. Neither you nor I were absent in the past, nor will be in the future. We are all eternal souls, not multiple, not plural number. Plural and singular has no meaning in the term soul. It is neither one nor many. This has meaning only in the relative world, one or many, but ultimately one is many, many is one. You have to see diversity in the unity, unity in the diversity. Both are one. It is only 2 different angles of seeing it. Lord Krishna speaks here of the immortality of the soul, or the imperishable nature of the self Atman. The soul exists in the 3 periods of time, past, present and future. Man continues to exist even after the death of the physical body. Death of the physical body. The soul never dies. There is life beyond also. Don't think life ends if you are unable to see it. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam yara tatha dehantar praptihi dhira tatran na muhyati. He gives the example of the body. I always tell you in Yoga Vasishtha class, whenever you want to have some examples to compare in the relative world, all the examples you can find in your own personality. In the body, this body is the mini world, a model of the whole universe. So whatever examples you want to take, you can find it in your body. So Lord Krishna also gives the same example. Oh Arjuna, look at your body, your life, so-called visible life. Dehinosmin yatha dehe. A bodied person who has got a body, in this body he undergoes changes. He becomes a child, he becomes a young boy, and then he attains youth, and then he becomes slowly old. In this way, dehantar praptihi. So in the same way, it goes beyond this body also. It gets this body, and changes are seen in this body, and after the disappearance of the body also, some changes will go on in subtle world. The soul exists after the death of this body. Why don't you see your own body, your own changes in the life? Just as in this body, the embodied soul passes into childhood, youth, and old age, so also does it pass into another body, the form man. The form man does not grieve thereat. A man of understanding never grieves, never weeps for the person for its death. Death is a changing phase. Understand it. Just as there is no interruption in the passing of childhood into youth and youth into old age in this body, so also there is no interruption by death in the continuity of the ego. Ego is ever with the soul, I am. This is called the inner soul, with a subtle body made by 4 aspects. So, 8 aspects. It is called eightfold body. Puryastak, a body composed by 8 objects, subtle objects. So it is called eightfold body. Puri Astak Puryastak. It is composed by 8 things. And it is a subtle body. And the soul uses that subtle body while in the gross body, and while the gross body perishes, it undergoes some other subtle changes in the subtle body. So a man of understanding should not grieve at it. It is certainly not born again at the beginning of the second stage. When the child grows young, is there any change in the soul or I? I was a small child. I was young sometimes. Was there any change in the I? The ego remains the same. Now I have become old. So I is always there. Similarly, after the death of this body, I will go under, it will undergo some other phases, some changes. So why should one grieve at it? When this was born, it was small child. When it attained youth, was there any change? Just as the self passes unchained from childhood to youth, it passes some phases being unchained, and from youth to old age, so also the self passes unchained from one body into another, from gross to the subtle. Therefore, the wise man is not at all disturbed by it. He is not worried about it. Come on, we can have another example also. Of course, body example is always very clear to us. Suppose in summer days, the ocean water becomes clouds, and slowly, in course of time, those clouds from over the sea, it comes to the mountain areas, and it rains water, and again the water goes to the source, the ocean again, by the help of rivers or streams or something. So has the water undergone any changes? Water is water all the time. Whether it becomes vapor or clouds or mist, or it becomes water again, it becomes river or the stream. What happens to the water? Water is always the water. Similarly, the gold and the ornaments, we have all these examples in Yoga Vasishtha class, isn't it? The soul remains the same. The gold remains the same whether it becomes a ring or a earring or it becomes some chain for the neck. It is always the gold. So, does anybody grieve at it? Oh, this gold has been changed. There is nothing to worry about. In this way, Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna, be clever, try to understand the real situation. Matra sparsastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkadaha agama paino nityang tam tidichyasva bharata. This particular sloka we have discussed for a long time in Yoga Vasishtha how we enjoy pain and pleasure. What is the real state of pain and pleasure? How it is observed by different people in different situations with a different understanding. Pain and pleasure. Agama apaya matra sparsastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkhadaha. Agama apayino anityam stam didikshasva bharata. Try to bear all these pain and pleasure. They are not permanent. As a person perceives and as he takes it as his own, accepts it, and it enjoys the pain or pleasure, and it is the work of the thought waves and the senses. They go out and they get related or they get nearness, they get close, attached to the object of the sense, and they come back. Don't forget the principle of perception, how one perceives the sense objects. So this is what Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna. All these happens by the nature and by the senses and by the thought waves, by the mind, and it is temporary. It doesn't exist for long. This whole world is a cycle. Cycles under the cycles, within the cycles, outside the cycles. Everything goes in a cycle, the world cycle. So everything repeats again and again. This pain, if you at all you are feeling pain, it is temporarily experienced and it will be changed into pleasure, and pleasure also will be changed into pain. It goes on. And how it happens, that the process, the analytical process, Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna. Contacts of senses with objects, that contact of the senses with the objects still in a subtle analytical way, the thought waves, when the senses act, say the sense of eye, the thoughts, they go through the window of the eyes and they have to have contact with the forms, and then they will come back bringing some information of the sense objects, some the forms. From the forms, they will go near it, they will touch it, and then come back. If this process goes on repeatedly, then you create some attachment for the sense object, and that gives you pleasure or pain. Whatever is habituatedly seen by the eyes, that becomes pleasant, and whatever is not habituated, that becomes painful. That's all. Pain and pleasures are the mental waves only. And it happens by the contact of the senses with the sense objects. This is the theory of perception. So, you must understand the contacts of the senses with the objects, O son of Kunti, O Arjuna, which cause heat and cold, pleasure and pain, have a beginning and an end. That means it goes on in a cycle. If the pleasure is there, there will be pain. If the pain is there, there will be pleasure. So, it has got end. They are impermanent. Endure them bravely, O Arjuna. They will come and go every now and then. So why are you perturbed? Yes.
So Swamiji, if we say as per Swamiji's logically and analytically, if thought waves are come in contact with the senses of objects, so in that case, mind is also it comes in contact with the objects. So then prana is also coming in contact with the objects.
Yes. So, all through, the ego is acting. I am the mind, I am the thought, I am the sense, I am the prana. So, ego, that's how he mentioned the word ego. Ego also passes different phases of this physical body and subtle body also. It is not the soul actually. It is the ego with the soul. I. That is what we always consider. Kill this ego. As long as ego is there, all these troubles are there. All these problems will be there. The I with the soul. I am born. I am a child. I am a young man. I am old. I am going to die. I have come to the heaven and enjoying. I have come to hell and suffering. All this, the business of I. Soul has got nothing to do.
So can we understand like logically and analytically, as long as this I is there in relation with this, so that the space and time is also involved?
Yes, yes, everything. Space, time and conditions, they are all enjoyed by ego only. Ego has these ideas, and these ideas take some forms, and they are called gross world or subtle world. If the ego is not there, I is not there, and ego with the mind is not there, where is the world, where is pain and pleasure, where is the battle, where is the conquest, where is the defeat, where are all these? Ego is playing the game, and that ego is nothing but time, space and conditions, and that ego is also mind, and it is the supreme power also. This ego also takes the form of nature. So everything is within itself. One becomes the other. See, for example, the boy Gopi, he played the role of Rama. Gopi, a beautiful child. He acts very well. And so in Ram Lila, in our village, we gave the part of role of Rama to him to act. He acted all the while beautifully. So when he lost Sita, he had to weep for Sita. Whether Rama was weeping for Sita or Gopi was weeping for his own male friend as Sita, what was the real condition? What was the situation? Come on, we have two angles of vision. Who was weeping for whom? Unless he becomes Rama, he cannot weep for Sita, his own friend. The friend is never lost. Nobody has kidnapped him. It is him, not her. Another friend of Gopi, his name was Radhu, and he took the form of Sita. And Ravan, a fatty boy and shouting boy, he played the role of Ravana, and he took away his own friend who was Sita, and his own friend was weeping for him. So what is going on?
Similarly, we are all in this.
In the drama, we are playing some roles. And who are we? We are I, the ego. And sometimes it becomes just as the Gopi. Gopi boy became Ram. And our Radhu boy became Sita. Before becoming Sita, she became also, that boy became also Kausalya. The same Kausalya took the part of Sita afterwards. See the inner view and how we enjoy it, because we know the truth. The inner story we know. It is all drama. Nobody wept for anyone. So this is how the soul is eternal, and ego, mind and all these senses, forced by the law of nature, action and reaction, and changes, and this pleasure and pain.
So can we say, as like for logical value, we can keep for ego as relative. So as long as ego is introduced, relativeness always is introduced.
Always exists. As long as ego is there, mind is there, they are subject to relativity. It cannot be understood easily. We have to see it from all angles. Then only the real inner truth will be revealed. Or else something is going underground. And वो बॉम्बे में क्या रहते हैं वो सब underworld. Underworld is different. Outer world is different. All of a sudden, somebody is killed. Nobody knows who killed whom. This is the work of underworld. This is the real story, and Lord Krishna, who is the all-seer, who is the director of all these dramas, who is not acting some role, but he is now taking part of this year, and at the time of need he adjusts the screws. So he so calmly, without being disturbed, he explained to Arjuna, my dear, don't be bewildered, seeing your kith and kin standing before you in a battle, you are going to kill them. Just be an actor. I am the director. Be some puppet in my hand, as I wish you have to play the role. Have you forgotten the real story? So this is what explaining Krishna to Arjuna. So this is the eternal truth which is revealed in Gita. Everybody should understand this, and practically, if this is understood and accepted in the day-to-day life, where are the problems? The world becomes a beautiful game. We can enjoy it. We can play the game and enjoy it. Where are the problems? Where are the doubts? Why are you so much worried? Understand the inner secret. All the time, in every verse, Lord Krishna gives the clue to Arjuna, my dear. He is his dear friend, and he is so dear to him. That's how he has become the driver of the chariot. He will guide in the life's journey. So he explained to Arjuna how we feel pain and pleasures, and it is the work of the senses. They get contact with the sense objects, and we feel the pain and pleasure, and they are impermanent. They are just a changing phenomena. So don't be worried. Even this will pass away. Gurudev used to sing, even this will pass away. If you can believe it, everything passes away. So where is the problem? Your so difficult problem at present will be a solution tomorrow. So there is no cause for worrying or grieving at something. He explains, cold is pleasant at one time and painful at another time. See the analytical study of pain and pleasure. The same, now we are feeling cold and we are using the heater. Will you use the heater in midday June, summer midday? Here itself in Uttarkasi, we have to use the fan, not the heater. So this same heater becomes pleasant now and painful in hot summer midday, isn't it? So same thing becomes giver of pain and some giver of pleasure at other time. So how can you understand it is a object of pain or pleasure? Everything changes according to the time, situations and conditions. Place the same heater, it will be used at Gomukh even in hot summer days. It is always cold there. in snowy region. And now this heater is painful at South India or in Australia. Australia, it is now summer, ending summer, isn't it? So how can you say it is cause for pain or pleasure? It is temporary, it goes on changing in cycle. So don't give importance to all these changing phenomena. Time is gone. Cold is pleasant at one time and painful at another. Heat is pleasant in winter but painful in summer. The same object that gives pleasure at one time gives pain at another time. So the sense contacts, he is not talking of the theory of perception. Now directly contact of the senses with the object. It also conditioned by time and space. Same thing becomes painful, same thing becomes pleasant. Therefore, they are impermanent in their nature. The objects come in contact with the senses or the indriyas, that is skin, ear, eye, nose, etc. And the sensations are carried by the nerves to the mind, which has its seat in the brain. It is the mind that feels pleasure and pain. One should try to bear patiently heat and cold, pleasure and pain, and develop a balanced state of mind. Mind is thus always changing because of these senses, because of these situations, because of these surroundings. So you must develop a habit to make your mind remain in a balanced state, not to be perturbed by pain and pleasure, good or bad. All these are just, it is the play of senses, and it is carried to the brain by the nerve systems. It is the game of the body and senses and all these. It is a machine. It is going on according to its a plan. It goes on acting, it cannot keep quiet. So all these are natural. Nature does the work. Don't be perturbed. Don't mind for all this. Keep the mind in a balanced state. Bear pain and pleasure. Have balanced state of mind in all these changing phenomena. Don't give importance to all these. Neither you will feel pain by death of somebody, nor you will be pleased by death of somebody or birth of somebody. All these are only mental game. So one should understand this reality in day-to-day life, so life becomes smooth. It runs smoothly without any problems, and you can enjoy the life. This is what we have to learn from Gita. Analytically, thoughtfully, yes, time is over. From all sides we have to think. Every word of Gita we can practice in day-to-day life. It is not only theories. So tomorrow we shall see some further. In this way, Lord goes on explaining. Hari Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnada Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevamashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai. Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Gita Mata ki jai. Hari Om.